Great job on you on picking the right color. The hair is definitely helping out.
Taylor Swift walked into a wedding in the English countryside this weekend with the shortest hair she has worn in roughly a decade, and the entire internet stopped to look. The newly married singer attended the August 15th wedding of recording engineers Ollie Jacobs and Laura Sisk, held at Real World Studios, the legendary recording complex owned by Peter Gabriel just outside Bath in Gloucestershire. And while the couple getting married were the ones exchanging vows, the photographs that spread around the world within hours were almost entirely focused on the guest with the new haircut. Here is what she wore, and every detail of it was deliberate. She arrived in a navy blue gown from the designer Costarellos, a tulle piece with delicate appliqué work and gold floral embroidery stitched throughout, the kind of dress that reads as elegant rather than attention-seeking. She paired it with her signature red lip, a pearl necklace, and a gold Cartier bracelet. But the accessories everyone actually zoomed in on were on her left hand, because for the first time at a formal event since her own wedding, Taylor was photographed wearing both her engagement ring and her wedding band together on full display at somebody else's ceremony. After a wedding where not a single official photograph was ever released, that small detail carried real weight. Fans had spent weeks waiting to see that ring in a clear photograph. And they finally got it, not through a staged announcement, but simply because she showed up somewhere as a guest. Then there is the hair, which is genuinely the story here. Her blonde has gone noticeably darker, and the length now falls just past her shoulders, which makes it the shortest she has worn publicly in something close to 10 years. For most of the past decade, she has kept her hair long, so seeing it cut back that dramatically registered instantly with anyone who has followed her for any length of time. She styled it in loose waves with her signature bangs swept slightly to the side, so the overall effect was softer rather than severe. But the change was unmistakable. Here's the timing detail most coverage glossed over, though. The haircut did not actually debut at that wedding. It first appeared publicly 3 days earlier, on August 12th, when she was photographed leaving Annabelle's, a private members club in London, wearing a purple and pink floral mini dress on what appeared to be a girls' night out. That London outing was significant in its own right, because it marked her very first public appearance since marrying Travis Kelce on July 3rd. 6 weeks of near-total silence. And then she simply walked out of a members club in London with a new haircut, as though nothing at all had happened. It is worth noting she has spoken before about how her hair has changed over the years, once explaining that she was born with extremely curly hair that eventually went completely straight, and joking that just as she had finally learned to love her curls, they abandoned her entirely, and she was hoping for their safe return. In recent months, she has been leaning into more of her natural texture, so the shorter cut fits a broader shift rather than reading as some dramatic reinvention. She was not alone at that wedding either, and the guest list explains exactly why she was there. Sabrina Carpenter attended, so did Jack Antonoff, her longtime producer and one of her closest collaborators. Phoebe Bridgers was there as well. Which tells you immediately that this was not a celebrity appearance. It was a music industry gathering, and Taylor was there as a colleague and a friend rather than as a spectacle, because Ollie Jacobs and Laura Sisk are not casual acquaintances. They are among the longest-standing studio collaborators Taylor has, having worked with her across multiple albums over many years. These are the people in the room when the records actually get made. The engineers whose work shapes how her music sounds without ever appearing on a magazine cover. Sisk and Jacobs also work closely with Carpenter and Antonoff, which explains why that particular group of guests assembled in one English studio on the same afternoon. She did not fly to England for a party. She showed up for two people who have spent years quietly helping build her records at the place where one of them got his start. There is also a reciprocity to it worth pointing out. Laura Sisk attended Taylor and Travis's own wedding in New York back in July. So this was in a small way a return favor between friends. One wedding in Madison Square Garden with 1,000 guests, and one wedding in a recording studio in the English countryside, connected by the same handful of people who actually know each other well. Which brings up the obvious question: where was Travis? He had a genuinely unarguable excuse, because his first preseason game of the season happened on that exact same day, while Taylor was in Gloucestershire, Travis was at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, opening his 14th NFL season with a preseason matchup against the Rams. And in the detail that fans immediately latched onto, he arrived wearing his gold wedding band clearly visible as he walked in. 2 continents apart, both of them at weddings and football games respectively, both wearing their rings without either of them saying a word about it. His arrival also produced its own conversation for reasons that have nothing to do with football, because Travis showed up having completely transformed his face. Just 3 days earlier, he had spoken to reporters at training camp with a full beard. By the time he walked into Arrowhead for the preseason opener, that beard was gone, replaced by the mustache he has become genuinely famous for, the look he affectionately calls El Trovador. He had also freshened up his buzz cut, shaving the sides and trimming the top. He completed the whole thing with a black and tan short set, black Jordans, and dark sunglasses. For anyone who does not follow the Chiefs closely, this might sound trivial. For fans, it was the moment they had been waiting for all summer. Travis reported to camp back in July with both a beard and a mustache, which immediately caught attention because fans are used to seeing him shave down to the mustache alone for camp. So, there had been weeks of speculation and joking about when or whether the mustache would make its return. Some fans had even joked that he must have forgotten how the previous season went during the stretch when the mustache stayed away. Not everyone was thrilled with the final result, mind you. The online reaction was split, with some fans openly campaigning for the beard to come back and others taking issue with his jewelry. One commenter bluntly saying he needs the beard back and that the gold accessories were a mistake. Others simply used the photos as an excuse to speculate about the couple's future family plans, which is roughly the standard temperature of any comment section involving these two at this point. And in the middle of all the coverage about hair, mustaches, and rings, Travis offered his own summary of everything that had happened over the past few months, and it might be the most understated thing he has ever said. Speaking to reporters at camp, asked about the off-season that included the most anticipated wedding in recent memory, an event that dominated global news for days, required nearly a week of city permits, drew 1,000 guests, and generated more speculation than almost any celebrity moment in years, Travis simply said it was a fun off-season. That was it, a fun off-season. There is something perfect about that. A man who married the most famous woman on the planet in front of 1,000 people at Madison Square Garden in a ceremony guarded so tightly that not one legitimate photograph has ever surfaced, describing the whole experience with the same energy most people use to talk about a decent long weekend. It is completely in character for how this couple has handled the entire thing. They gave the world a spectacle and then declined to narrate it. Pulling all of it together, here's where things stand.
You know, I always told myself I'd go for a playoff game when the Knicks were rocking, and my wife went when I was stuck in a mini camp, so I didn't get my opportunity to go then. So it was a fun off season, man. Wedding was the best night of my life. All I really got from that night. It was a crazy night. It was full of a lot of celebration, but
6 weeks after the biggest wedding of the year, the two of them spent a Saturday on opposite sides of an ocean, one at a friend's wedding in an English recording studio, one at a football stadium in Missouri, both wearing their rings, neither one saying much of anything about it, which is at this point exactly how they seem to like it. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.